Glad to see everybody this morning, and hopefully you're ready to rock, right? Isn't that the lesson this morning? The rocks tell tales. So hopefully we're going to be able to rock out as far as the archaeology trail in the Bible. Before we get started, those that are going to be taking the Pearls test, which I hope are a lion's share of those that are in here, the Pearls test is going to be the 26th of this month at 2 p.m. And those that are having a little fear and trepidation about what that's liable to be about, I have an example of last year's test. You were hoping so much. I was going to say, I have a pre-test of this year's test. But this is an example of what the test is going to, kind of look like. And that hopefully will allay any fears that you might have about taking that. I don't have enough for everybody. And what I was told was to kind of play hall monitor and take down the names of those who are grabbing these so that they can be put on the prayer list. Okay. We've been talking over the last several weeks about the validations from science and the sciences that can be found to validate what the Bible has to say. Because there are people in our society who want to be able to say the Bible isn't real, God isn't real, and if the Bible and God aren't real, well, then I am okay to just do whatever I want to do, and I don't have to feel any kind of, remorse about the actions I take. As long as I can, quote, get away with it, it's all right. And we've talked about how dangerous that is for them. We talked about how to hopefully be able to talk to them and share with them some of the information that's available that they might at least take a look at, because it's not the Bible, Well, I'm not going to study the Bible with you. Well, okay. Well, are you willing to look at some things that archaeology says, that biology says, that microbiology says, those types of things, and then let's take a look at examples of what the Bible says that kind of correlate with that. And we hopefully can be able to move those people toward study and toward coming to know the Scriptures over the course of time. I also find it interesting that there are numerous people that were self-proclaimed atheists that when they started studying the Bible became some of the most devout Christians because they studied the book. And if I remember correctly, in John Clayton's story, he actually said that he started studying the Bible so that he could disprove that God existed. He was actually trying to read it and find the flaws, find the errors, find the problems, so he could say, aha, here, I've discredited it. And so the more that we know about the sciences and all of that, the more I think our faith can be solidified, and the more that we can share with those who have that type of, preconception that they don't want to believe the Bible, the more that we can communicate with them on a level that they're willing to listen to. So with that said, this morning we're going to talk about rock formations, archaeology, and we're going to talk about some things that have been revealed over the last, I think it goes back as far as 150 years for the one that we're going to talk, one of them that we're going to talk about today. But the rocks tell a tale. Even to the people who make that their living, as a matter of fact, to the people that make that their living, they tell a very distinct tale as long as the observer is willing to listen. And that's a key part of it. Got to be willing to listen to what they're telling you. What is archaeology anyway? We have a little definition in the book there. What is archaeology anyway? Well, basically, it's the study of the stuff that's left after a civilization lives in an area, they live their lives out, and then the, quote, sands of time go over that area, and literally those things become embedded, more or less, into the earth. And then hundreds of years later, maybe even thousands of years later, somebody goes to an area and starts digging, and all of a sudden they stumble upon some of the, quote, stuff that was left over from the people that lived in that region at that time. Yeah, Keith. It doesn't. You're exactly right. It could be animal herds. It could be fish, that got washed up. It could be dinosaurs, as we talked about, a few weeks ago. Just some kind of I almost said some kind of a living thing. It doesn't even have to be a living thing, interestingly enough. And we're going to talk about that, hopefully, in some new detail, because this is something y'all didn't have in the book that I want to try to share with you. It shows a change in an environment over the course of time. And then the investigators that go in and dig in and all of that, they're able to take what is uncovered, and then based on taking a look at it with instruments that are available, all that kind of thing, daily Bible readers, they're able to come to some conclusions as to what was going on. Okay, we got it. Thank you. In that time frame. And they're hopefully able to evaluate what that time frame was pretty accurately with some of the things that are available to them. Archaeology is also important with respect to showing that the Bible writers accurately chronicled everything that was going on during their time frame that they were writing for. Now that might sound, as a matter of fact, to me that does sound kind of odd. Does it matter? I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, does it matter whether we can archaeologically, that's not really a word, I made that up, right? Does it matter whether we can actually prove everything in the grand scheme of things? Does it? Well, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. But it's nice, right? It's nice. It gives us that little, okay, there's that thing. And the Bible says it, and then there's evidence of it in science, and I like that. Just gives you that little comfort feeling or whatever, maybe. Here's the thing. Thousands of archaeological finds have shown that the Bible writers always wrote the truth. There's never been a single discovery that disproves anything in the Bible. The Bible is the only book in the world that does not contain a single historic error. So why don't people believe it? Kind of boils down to that, doesn't it? They just don't want to. I don't want to believe this book because if I believe that it's real, I got to do what it says. And I really don't want to do what it says. I want to do what I want to do. And so consequently, I'll just say I don't believe it. And it doesn't matter how much evidence is put forward. It doesn't matter that there's proof about numerous things. I just don't want to believe it. At some point, I think that's what everyone that discredits the Bible, I think that's what they have to get to. But we're going to look at some more things today that absolutely prove that certain things happened. Our first part of our lesson today was talking about David. Now, David's a significant historical figure in the Bible. He's mentioned, 1,048 times? Is that what it says? 1,048 times. That's a lot. That's a lot. Stories of his conquest are as fantastic as the best novels in Greek history about warriors and almost any culture and their hero. But until, quote, just recently, there wasn't actual proof that he really existed. You remember what I said? Is it important that there's proof in the grand scheme of things from a Christian perspective? What if they never found this stone that was talked about in Palestine in 1993? Abraham Byron was digging at a site in Tel Dan, and he found a stone. And the stone was talking about Ben-Hadad's defeat, and that Ben-Hadad was of the house of David. And it validated that David existed because the archaeologists were able to see that the people in that time frame had lived. And so if they had lived, which was validated by archaeologists, and they had a stone here that talked about David, well, by default, it proved David was real. It validated him. But was it, from a Christian perspective, is it important that they found that stone? Well, I say no. No. It's not important. We either believe that the Scriptures are what they say, and we've given several other evidences along the last 10, 12 weeks, whatever, that the Bible tick. And so even if we didn't have that little stone, we would evidences elsewhere be able to validate the Bible is in fact exactly what it reads. But having that little stone is one more rock in the sky. Come on, wasn't it? In the sky. Last week, about brought up how I really did. I mean, being able to start digging simultaneous directions and in the middle. I mean, from a purely historic ability, it's almost impossible. Adequately. At the tunnel is so large, people stand 750. Still don't even know how. And my uh, people and you know they're only do this all of us it least scientists than the cow is possible to do it. The cutting line through the cut through line with the it was talking really would be the things the here's you think all about and the what this is put in this got under what means and that let's feeding